still relying on paper forms and Excel sheets? Are you losing efficiency? Are you struggling with an aging workforce and a population that's retiring, full of tribal knowledge? If you're in the print and packaging, cable and wire, metal rolls, plastics industries, you're going to want to tune in today for our LinkedIn live show as we share a exciting solution to these challenging problems. Let's start the countdown. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our Shop Floor Revolution series. This is a one of 4-part series that we're going to be talking around everything shop floor and how we're revolutionizing it with SAP and other digital tools. So welcome to those of you that are tuning in from LinkedIn as well as YouTube. We are coming to you live, but the replay will be immediately available afterwards as well. And for those of you in the comments, feel free to introduce yourself, let people know who you are, let us know where you're tuning in as well. And then that way we can learn to connect with each other and build our own networks as well. So my name is Fanny Dunagan, and I'm going to be your host today for this live stream. And I want to kick off by introducing you to our mill products experts here. First, we have John Gretter. He is our Managing Director of Mill Products for Delaware, North America. Hi, John. How are you?
I'm great, Fanny. Thank you. I appreciate the little experts tag that you gave us there.
You like that?
Yeah, that's nice of you.
Of course, that's who you are. And then we have another John Rossiter. He is our Solution Director of Mill Products in Delaware, North America. And John Rossiter is a solution engineer with deep expertise with MES solutions and shop floor processes. He has been in consulting for over 25 years in various manufacturing industries. Welcome, John Rossiter. How are you?
Hi, Fanny. I'm doing well. Thanks for aging me with that. I appreciate it.
Well, it just shows your wisdom and expertise, right? And then for John Gretter, he's been nearly a decade of SAP experience assisting customers to successfully implement SAP projects. So we got industry experts on the business side plus SAP experts here. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And for today's agenda, we're going to touch on 3 main things. Number 1, the state of the industry and the challenges that we're experiencing with shop floors and manufacturing right now. Number 2, why a traditional manufacturing execution system, MES, really needs to evolve. And then finally, the launch of an exciting solution that we have to address some of those challenges. So that's what we're going to cover today in the span of 30 minutes. And in the meantime, we want to tell everyone that we will actually be at the SAP Sapphire Conference as well. So please save the date on May 19th to the 21st. It's an incredible conference. John Gretter, what's kind of your most memorable thing about Sapphire conferences?
I think last year, recency bias is probably playing a little bit of this, but last year we were really launching this whole initiative that we're going to get into a little bit later. I don't want to steal the thunder of the latter part of today's broadcast, but the whole DM for Mill by Delaware was introduced to the marketplace last year at Sapphire. We had an excellent display with a model factory and live demos that we're only going to build upon for this next year's event. So last year, because of DM for Mill by Delaware, probably my best memory of Sapphire, and I've been to quite a few of them at this point in time.
Yeah, it's really an incredible conference. So, for
Yes.
those of you out there, be sure to save the date, and we'll be announcing lots more details as well as customer sessions that we're going to be having. So, we'll see you at Sapphire if you're going to be there. But I'm going to jump right into questions here. Uh, John Rossiter, right? At this point in time, let's kind of look at what shop floors are experiencing right now, right? What is a typical shop floor of a metal rolls or plastics or print and packaging kind of business right now?
Some people would look at it as managed chaos, but it's actually quite a symphony of working in concert of how things go through. But a lot of things that we see, and I see as I walk shop floors in today's world, are things you mentioned in your intro to this whole series. There are a lot of manual processes that are taking place. Lots and lots of paper, Excel forms, Microsoft Access databases being used to capture data. The workforce typically is an aging workforce, and their experience, their knowledge, their tacit knowledge that they've gained from it really kind of drive a lot of the processes that are there. But it's watching things go from raw materials through a process to a finished product. It's a fascinating thing to stand and watch.
Yeah. Well, and John Gretter, like you're constantly in front of the clients and customers. What are some of the common pain points that you're hearing from them?
Well, it goes hand in glove with what John Rossiter, and I'll always say his last name to make it easy on our audience today. There's too many Johns in this presentation. But it goes hand in glove with what John Rossiter just said. We're hearing a lot from the customers of we need to prepare for the future, and how do we accomplish that with the fact that we're needing to attract new talent. And attracting that new talent into these manufacturing processes has really never been more difficult than it is right now. So it's taking those manual processes and optimizing them or evolving them into the more digital workplace or the digital shop floor. And to me, that's the most exciting opportunity that is facing this segment right now, is that opportunity to modernize, to digitize the shop floor. And the other thing that we're hearing going along with attracting that new talent is it's so important to connect the shop floor to the top floor. And how can we make sure that we have the proper ebb and flow of information so the shop floor has everything they need to do to work as efficiently as possible, because we know time is money. But then also, how do we make sure that the top floor has that information, and here's what's critical, in real time? No more is it acceptable to have these lags in data getting from the shop floor to the top floor and vice versa. So that real time initiative is also something that's critical right now.
Yeah. And I would think because it's not real time right now, there's a lag in decision making, right? And
Yeah.
struggles with making quick decisions.
Yeah, think about it this way. I get teased about this all the time, my analogies. So I'm gonna drop one right at the beginning of today's broadcast. Yeah, the first one, John. It really comes down to, Fanny, it's the notion of either driving with your rear view mirror and looking out the back window, or driving looking out the front through your windshield. And having real-time data that allows you to make decisions also in real time, that's driving with the windshield, looking out forward. But when you're dealing with that lag time and not being able to make decisions in real time, you're driving through the rear view mirror, and we all know that's not going to work. So that ability to have things in real time and have the forward facing view, so critical to not only this segment but all manufacturing in today's day and age.
So before we go on, I want to maybe interject, because there's going to be a lot of terms, a lot of acronyms. Us techies love acronyms for some reason, right? So one of them is MES, right? A lot of people talk about manufacturing execution systems.
Mm-hmm.
John Rossiter, can you explain what MES is?
Sure. Everybody in every organization manufacturing out there has a manufacturing execution process, but they don't all have systems. So what you're talking about is a software solution that actually helps drive what's going on the shop floor. So it monitors, it manages that production process, as Mr. Gretter said, in real time. And it's really driven to drive that efficiency and that quality, and if need be, the compliance that belongs in that industry.
Got it. And then another term that I hear a lot, and I don't know if it's more like an SAP term, right? But mill products, right? I'm just thinking of like paper when I hear mill products. But John Rossiter, like what does mill products include? What does that big umbrella cover?
Oh, it could mean different things to different folks, but as we define it within Delaware, we define it the same way SAP does. It's organizations that are bringing and processing raw materials into finished goods, but doing it's in a long process that's continuous. So when you think about, Fanny, you mentioned paper. If I'm producing paper, I'm producing it in a long run. I'm not producing it sheet at a time. I'm cutting it down into sheets. I'm taking giant rolls and I'm slitting them. And it would cover things like metals, packaging for things that you go buy in the stores, textiles, any sort of carpet, things like that, wire, cable. Again, things that are typically not measured in pieces, but are measured in length or weight coming off the end.
Awesome. And then a final term for you. Do you feel like you're in Jeopardy? We're going to be talking about this term, digital manufacturing, right? DM. Define DM for us, John.
So again, you can look at DM in multiple ways. Digital manufacturing as a whole, we're talking about digitizing the manufacturing process. But if you go by it again, back to how SAP defines it, they have a specific product that we're going to refer to today called digital manufacturing. That particular product uses the advanced digital technologies, and it really helps optimize those manufacturing operations. And again, it's real-time decision making. As John Gretter mentioned, looking through that front window versus looking in the rear view mirror as you're driving the car.
Careful, John. You're going to get addicted to my analogies.
I do try.
We all love analogies. Yeah. And for those of you that are tuning in, feel free to pop in your questions in the comments, because this is a live, so we can bring up your questions to our experts and have them be answered real time as well. And I see someone tuning in from Pennsylvania, and then Harsh here, he was also mentioning building materials also falls under mill products, right?
Absolutely.
So, awesome. Okay, so now that we got the definitions out of the way, John Rossiter, if these businesses continue on in this current path, if they don't upgrade, if they just stick with this paper and manual kind of processes, what are the implications?
Well, they're not going to advance with what they're doing. They're not going to be able to change what they're doing and react to what's going on in the marketplace. The other problem they have, we talked earlier about an aging workforce. So that workforce that's got all that knowledge in their heads, Fanny, if you're running a process and there's a problem that's going on, it could be, oh, go check with Fanny. She knows how to fix it. Well, if that knowledge is lost because you've retired, that's a problem for the organization. So if they don't change their processes and their methods to, go attract new workers, to grab that data off the shop floor, they're going to have troubles actually reacting to changes in the marketplace. And they're also going to have problems taking advantage of some of the new technologies that are coming on in the world of business today, because MES systems, shop floor data as a whole, is going to be a foundational piece to where they're going to want to go in the future.
Yeah. And I would think that if they don't upgrade or go digital, there's no way to scale, right? They can't get bigger.
Well, you think about all the paper that's on the form. Somebody goes in and fills out a form on a shop floor instead of keying it into a computer. Well, if there's data on that form that needs to go into a system, well, now I've got duplicate entry. Somebody's writing it down, somebody's keying it in. There's a chance for mistakes. There's also, situations with an MES solution where I want to go grab data off the shop floor systematically. So it's not just a manual of replacing forms that's there, but I want to use things to grab data as it's flowing through that process. And again, it all goes to allowing that organization to be reactive to changes that are happening on the shop floor into the marketplace in general.
Got it.
And Fanny, just one other
Yeah.
thing real quick on this notion of what John was just talking about, going back to what I mentioned about attracting the new generation of talent onto the manufacturing sites and processes. Think about what students today are engaging with. I mean, for me, for example, I have 3 daughters all around the college age. They don't take notes any longer in a notebook. They're all doing it on tablets and with technology. Well, when you're talking about what's at stake for companies that don't adopt these new technologies and advance from their older way of doing things, when it comes to recruiting that new talent, if you're stuck in the days of doing everything with spreadsheets and everything's in paper form on the shop floor, and your competitor has digitized and all of their workers are executing off of tablets or some cases off of cell phone screens, those new age workers are going to be far more drawn to the company that has revolutionized and evolutionized their shop floor. It really gives you a competitive advantage, not only to be more efficient in your manufacturing process, but it also makes you more efficient and more attractive to generating or attracting that talent.
It's so true. We live in a digital world. I can't remember the last time my kids were using pencil and paper.
I mean, we even order pizzas now over our phones and apps. I mean, long gone are the days of calling somebody and ordering that pizza. So it's everywhere.
So
we can't avoid it. And like Harsh dropped in the chat here, and John talked about the foundation. John Rossiter talked about the foundation. Well, for any company that's wanting to build up, this is the foundation we're talking about right now. The MES solution, the MES layer is the foundation. If you want to build up from there and get into things like AI, which is the big buzz everywhere, you've got to have a very, very solid foundation so you're able to tap into that next generation, the next generation of technology that is coming in terms of AI.
For sure. And we have Adam also in our feed here. It just goes to show, right? Mill products also in aerospace, all the metals that they use in the aerospace and defense industry, that's all included under this mill products umbrella as well. So thank you for that, Adam. So John Gretter, at this point, right, sometimes people are still resistant to change. Right? They bring up obstacles. What are some common obstacles that you're hearing from prospects as to why they're still reluctant to upgrade their legacy systems?
Well, change is scary. I mean, I'll own that. It's always something that, from the human aspect of it, when we hear something needs to change or potentially is going to change, there's that knee-jerk reaction of, oh boy, I fear the unknown. But again, we talked about some of those issues around the aging workforce, tribal knowledge, those types of things. When you enhance or evolutionize with technology, some of those team members that have been at the forefront of running things with that tribal knowledge, or just been there and maybe were involved in the creation of the current systems, there's that ownership of the current state, and taking away that ownership and going to something else can be really scary. So that's one thing. A second thing that comes up common is, well, how do we know it's going to work? We don't want to be the first person to do it. We don't want to be the last person to do it. So when you think about that, the old nursery rhyme, you have the 3 bowls of porridge. There's one that's too cold, there's one that's too hot, and there's one that's just right. The customers, by and large, really want to be in that just right bucket. So it's also de-risking it for the customers and making them feel comfortable with the technology that's out there. And that's something that Delaware and the subject matter expertise that we bring to it, with a dedicated team around SAP in the mill products vertical, we can be that secret weapon, that secret sauce to speak the language of the industry
Yes.
and help the companies feel comfortable with that new technology, because we don't speak in general terms. We're going to come in and speak the language of that mill product shop floor, because we've been there, we've done that, we're deeply knowledgeable in the technologies, and we'll help shallow that learning curve and make it more of a speed bump and not so much a mountain that companies need to overcome.
Thank you, John. Well, at this point, I want to just play a video for our audience here. We thought we would do a fun way to illustrate this shop floor to the top floor integration through an analogy to John Rossiter's side hustle, where he solves a Rubik's Cube. So let's play the video and you can see this analogy to the shop floor.
Hi, I'm John Rossiter from Delaware. I've got in my hand a Rubik's Cube. And how many of you as a child like me started mixing this up and realizing the more I mix it, the more complicated it gets. I can't figure out how to get it back together, and then you start breaking it apart and starting putting pieces back together. But you never really solve the problem. Or you peel the stickers off. You never really solve the problem. You mask it. You try to create the solution. Now, how many of you in the manufacturing space are also trying to digitize your manufacturing process? And you're undergoing the same thing. I can print a report out. I can see the data. It looks good. It's all, hey, I've got a side. I'm all good. But when I start getting questions from the executive teams, from the board of directors, and start trying to marry that up to everything else in the organization, it just doesn't fit. What I want to talk to you today is about a manufacturing execution system. This is a solution that allows us to take data and align it from the shop floor to the top floor. And what do I mean by that? Manufacturing execution systems allow us to capture data in near real time at the foundational layer, where that manufacturing process is happening, as that manufacturing process is happening. And what it allows us to do is to start having a record of what's happening, and a record digitally, not something that's just caked into a particular set of reports that I've got to figure out where in the world do I store all this paper, or something that is put into a solution that is something that somebody might look at once, but then they never look at again. And I can never quite get it right. I can never quite get everything in line with exactly as I want it to be. Well, that's a problem that a lot of organizations have today, especially when they're trying to go through that process of digitizing their organization. And what we want to be able to help them do and help you do here at Delaware is to start putting in things in place that allow you to start aligning all that data properly and start bringing that stuff into play. So I can start looking at how am I reporting my scrap and yield on the production, and how is that affecting my bottom line? Am I getting the proper throughput that I need through my systems as I'm doing my production? What is the true cost of that production? And what is the cost of me actually continuing to go through and work that data, work that structure, work that process? And how am I dealing with an aging workforce? How am I dealing with the knowledge that they just have in their heads? With the manufacturing execution system, I'm going to start bringing all of that data together so I can get a clear view of everything in my organization. So if I want to look at direct labor, indirect labor, if I want to understand how my workers are working against a set standard, if I want to start looking at the operational efficiency of not only my process, but the machines I have in play, I've got my data and I've got it aligned so I can look at it from any angle and I can get the right answer. Now I can make better decisions, more informed decisions. I can react to differences in the markets, the customers, in a very quick, easy, and efficient manner. Manufacturing execution systems, specifically SAP's digital manufacturing and DM for Mill by Delaware, allow you to bring this data together so that you can see from the shop floor to the top floor, clear data, clean data, auditable data that you can rely on. If you'd like to learn more about our solution, please reach out and let us know. We'd be more than happy to chat with you. If you'd like to learn how to solve a Rubik's Cube, I'd be happy to help you with that too. Hope everybody has a great day. Hope this was a little bit informative for you. Thanks.
Okay, John, how
Oh,
many
you like that,
times,
don't you,
how
Fanny?
many takes did it take for you to do that?
Oh, not that many. Come on. I always have a Rubik's Cube with me.
It's like those people with their fidget spinners, right?
Rubik's Cube is my fidget spinner.
Bravo, bravo. I was like all tense and I was like, can he do it? Well, John Rossiter, like at this point in time, why does traditional MES need to evolve? Why can't we just continue with that traditional MES?
Well, you look at it, and even with that video, the point is, and there are many different ways to solve a Rubik's Cube, but one of the ways to solve it is you have to solve it layer by layer by layer, starting at the bottom and moving your way up. And that's why MES, that's the analogy back to MES and why it needs to evolve. It's creating that solid foundation of data at the shop floor. And not just data that happened yesterday, but data that happened last second, last couple of minutes. Something that if I have a machine go down, I can react in that manufacturing process and rejuggle what I've got going on to make sure I'm still getting product out to my customers, out the door. So that's the process behind it. It helps drive all of that, but it all starts with that underlying foundation of data. That's quality data, that's captured at the point, that's captured off of the machines directly where and how, if it's available, and that can be utilized immediately within the organization.
Wonderful. Well, with that, it's a great lead in to this announcement that we have. John Gretter, I'm going to pass it to you to kind of share this exciting announcement we have and the news of our digital solution here. So take it away, John Gretter.
Yeah, thanks so much. And it's a great setup for a lot of things on the horizon. Fanny, you talked about Sapphire happening in Orlando in the middle of May. We're going to be diving deep into Delaware's solution that is actually a co-innovation with SAP. So when you talk about announcement, that's what we're so excited about. Is this is a co-innovation between SAP and Delaware, where we have developed a solution for the mill product space that is, you've heard it referenced already, but it's DM for Mill by Delaware. What this does is it takes the great solution that SAP has already built with DM or digital manufacturing, which is their MES, and it has taken care of the specific needs in the mill product space, like usability and making it easier for the shop floor to engage with the tool, which to me is so critical. The easier it is to use the tool, the happier the customers are going to be, and the customers for this are the shop floor users. Consolidation of orders, for our audience out there in the mill product space that has tuned in today, that's going to resonate loud and clear. The ability to consolidate orders is a tremendous benefit. It's really a must in this space. That is accounted for with DM for Mill by Delaware. Having those defects resolution and being able to track those defects, another big key. And then the enhanced traceability, the ability to track things from inception to production, and having that digital record of that is something that our mill products customers need. other industries need it as well. You saw one of our viewers was talking about aerospace and defense customers. Advanced traceability is something obviously that's going to hit close to home for them as well. So with DM for Mill by Delaware, look for us at Sapphire. We'll be demonstrating this with our model factory as well as live demos. This is also a good setup for our next installment of our LinkedIn Live series, which will be focusing on DM for Mill by Delaware and demonstrating it there as well. So super excited that this is now a product that is ready for consumption in the marketplace. If you're interested in that and want to discuss more, just reach out to John or John Squared with Delaware and the team on DM for Mill, and we'll be happy to share everything about DM for Mill.
Awesome.
We can help you solve Rubik's Cubes too, John.
There you go. An extra service, free service, right, Rossiter? I love it. Well, as you guys can see, you're getting just a glimpse of the things to come, right? Today, we really focus on just the existing challenges and the existing kind of like lay of the land right now, right? And just give you a little teaser into DM for Mill. But like Gretter said, we're going to have another 3 parts to this where we're going to get into demos and details and more specifics so that you can kind of go on this journey with us through this 4-part series on the shop floor revolution. So I want to see if there's any questions in the audience here. And let's see, I think we're good right now. Gretter or Rossiter, any kind of questions you typically get from prospects and clients?
Well, one of them that we get often is, where have you done this? And the good news is we've done it multiple times now. And like we said, we're not talking about anything, whether it's SAP solution or Delaware solution that's vaporware. These are very real solutions that are tried and true in the marketplace. And again, they're all available for demonstrations by the Delaware team that John Rossiter leads up from a technical standpoint. We'd love to be able to show people just what DM with SAP is capable of and what DM for Mill by Delaware is capable of. Got
it. I see a question here from Rebecca. What about reliability-centered maintenance and how it affects OEE?
Yeah, this is the MES Solutions DM with DM for Mill in concert is really driven off of creating that foundation of data so that you can drive to that. If I'm collecting the right data on the shop floor, then I can start looking at what's the throughput of my machine, how is the labor affecting that as it goes through, and not only look at it at a work center or machine level aspect, but look at it based on the products I'm actually producing. So is my product mix that I'm pushing out the door the right mix? Is it profitable for the organization? All of those kind of analytic questions can't be answered unless you're capturing the real-time data off the shop floor. And that is one of the exciting things with DM and DM for Mill is its real-time integration back into core SAP. Whether it's ECC or S4, doesn't matter. That core, that integration back, that real-time push of data back, and the things that we're doing to make things a lot easier on the shop floor, again, allow those companies to react quicker to changes in the marketplace and changes on the shop floor.
Yeah. I recently heard the term data is the new oil, right? Without data, none of this can work. The AI, the growth, the scaling. Right? So data is the new oil.
Doing, Mr. Gretter, you're getting Fanny to use analogies now.
Well, and I was just going to say I was jealous of her because the one that I've heard is data is the new bacon. And so however you want to do it. I mean, data is important. I think we all agree on that. And Fanny, something else that's a great plug for our next episode as well to tune in. Another question that we get often around DM and DM for Mill is about edge capability. So edge capability is something that DM for Mill by Delaware addresses for the mill product space. So that would be a real reason to tune in for episode number 2, where John Rossiter and I will be talking about edge capability in this space. and how we have addressed it and how we've solved for it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I see a comment from Harsh here. Equipment uptime with KPIs built for the mill scorecard with identified right master and transaction data sources. I'm not totally sure what the question is, but I guess that this idea of KPIs, right? It's just
and if you think about it, it's that data coming off the shop floor, but it's not only understanding that, but how does it fit into that process and getting that visibility. We've talked a lot today about the ease of use for the operator on the shop floor, but DM and DM for Mill also contains structures to help out the managers, the plant managers, the work center managers, the shift directors that are out there, and help them with their processes. So it's not just an end user perspective, it's also a management aspect as well.
Yeah, and without KPIs and scorecards, it would be just like playing a football game, for example, without the ability to call timeout or have halftime, and where you can make those adjustments if you're losing the game. With KPIs and scorecards in real time, again, buzzword of the episode or buzz phrase of the episode has to be real time at this stage. Those KPIs and scorecards being built into the solution allow you to pivot in real time if you're falling behind or you're not meeting those metrics that you've set forth that ensure success. I mean, nobody would play a game without timeouts or the ability to adjust it if you're losing. That would be crazy. But again, we have businesses upon businesses out there that are playing their game every single day with old data. The game is already over. They don't know if they've won or lost until the dust is settled. These new tools allow you that flexibility and that ability to pivot in real time and make those little adjustments that oftentimes are the difference between a win or a loss. We want to help those customers ensure a win every time they put their workforce out there to produce that product that they're tasked with producing.
Awesome. Okay. So for those of you out there, just another reminder to save the date for SAP Sapphire. We're going to be there from May 19th to the 21st, Delaware, North America. Actually, not just North America, globally. A lot of our colleagues from across the globe with Delaware will be at Sapphire. So lots of people from different industries. So feel free to come to our booth, save the date, and talk to our industry experts. For those people out there that want to connect with John and John, we're going to pull up there a QR code that you guys can scan. So there's the one for John Gretter. So please scan that to connect with him on LinkedIn. And he's very active on LinkedIn. And then John Rossiter as well. You'll see a lot of great historical facts on his LinkedIn as well. So connect with John Rossiter and John Gretter and pass them your questions and talk about it more. And then I'll pull up one last QR code. This is our Mill Products Solution page. And you'll find a lot more information. We have ebooks that you can download about our accelerators for mill products, and as well as videos. So lots and lots of resources for you to learn and get familiar with this topic. Okay, so as we wrap up, I want to thank everybody in our audience. I want to thank John Gretter, John Rossiter. Thank you so much for your expertise and your insights. And I'm looking forward to continuing this series with both of you.
Thanks to you, Fanny. You did a great job. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And we'll roll out of here with a video about Delaware so that you can get familiar with our organization. Until next time, see you
next time, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.